Students, in the last class we started a new chapter, that is Landscape of the Soul, chapter number 4, from your book Hornbill. And today we are going to recap first what we actually read in the first part of the chapter. This is actually a comparative view between the Western culture, Western art, and the Chinese art, or maybe the Eastern art. As we have already read, that it was told by the author that a Western painting produces an actual view. Means a Western painter would paint something in such a real manner that the onlooker would not be able to imagine whether it is real or it is actually painted. The European painter wants the beholder. Beholder means the onlooker, देखने वाला. The European painter wants the beholder to look at a particular landscape from a specific angle, exactly as he saw it. Means the European painter actually wanted that the person should look at the things as it was seen by the painter. But the Chinese painter does not choose a single viewpoint. His landscape is not a real one. One can enter it from any point. Means the Chinese painter would have different multi-enter points to enter a scenery or to enter a landscape or a painting, and he can travel it in a leisurely movement. This is more true in the case of horizontal scroll. Means here one only slowly opens one section of the painting, then rolls it up and moves up to the other. This adds a dimension of time actually. It means that it also requires the active participation of the viewer. Means the Chinese art, it requires active participation, a participation which is physical as well as mental. The European painter wants the viewer to borrow his eyes. The European painter actually wanted that the onlooker, the person who has come to see the painting, he should have the same viewpoint as was of the painter. But the Chinese painter does not want this. He wants the viewer to enter his mind. The language is an inner one, a spiritual and a conceptual one. So this is actually a contrasting relationship. This is actually a comparative study. It is, you can say, the difference between the Eastern and the Western art, or maybe the Western and Chinese art. Now I am going to continue from the page number 36 from the top. This concept is expressed as san shui. Now this is very important. What is the meaning of san shui word here? Now what is san shui? San shui is actually the, you can say, the contact between the mountain and the water, because here there are two different words which actually are expressed as san shui. Now he says this concept is expressed as san shui, literally mountain water. Shan means mountain and shui means water. So which used together represent the word landscape. Means in Chinese art, san shui is actually the similar meaning with having the similar meaning with landscape. More than two elements of an image, these represent two complementary poles reflecting the Taoist view of the universe. Now this is again very important. What is the meaning of Taoist? Taoist actually means the path or way, and towards which thing? The way into the mystery of the universe. Taoism or Taoist is the view or the way into the mystery of the universe. So he says more than two elements of an image, these represent two complementary poles, two different things, two contrasting things are compared, are shown and represented by san shui, or san shui means mountain plus water. And there is another meaning. He says the mountain is yang, reaching vertically towards heaven, stable, warm, dry in the sun, while the water is yin. Now he says that mountain, because Shan Shui Mei, the first word is Shan, it means the mountain, and he says mountain is yang, and yang here means the masculine counterpart, masculine, the males, they are actually compared, they are represented by yang. Reaching vertically towards heaven means they are stable. The mountains are very stable. This is their characteristic. This is their feature. This is their character. Warm and dry in the sun. While the water is yin. Yin here means the females, the feminine counterpart of masculine. Horizontal and resting on the earth. They are fluid, they are moist, and they are cool. So females or yin is the water, and males, the masculine counterpart, is very stable, warm, and dry in the sun, and very stable and stand straight vertically towards heaven, and they are represented by mountain or yang. So yang and yin. Yang means mountains. Mountains represent males. They are very stable, they are full of strength, they are warm, and their counterpart is yin. Yin here represent the females, and females are resting on the earth, they are fluid, they are moist, and they are cool. Means they are delicate. The interaction of yin, the receptive feminine aspect of universal energy, and its counterpart yang, active and masculine, means yin represents here receptive. Receptive means they receive all things, they have that resistance power. They are feminine. This is again very important. Feminine part is called as yin, and its counterpart yang, it is very active. Yang is very active. Yang is very active, and masculine is of course a fundamental notion of Taoism. Notion means the idea. So this is the theory behind Taoism. This is the fundamental idea of Taoism, that yang means mountains. Mountains are very stable, very straight, very strong, like the males. And yin means water, and water is very receptive. It is actually very fluid, moist, cool, weak, like the females. What is often overlooked is an essential third element. But he says that the people, they have forgotten about the third element. Means nobody speaks, nobody says anything about the third element. And what is that third element? The middle void. This third element is the middle void, where their interaction takes place. Means these two people, females and males, mountain and water, yin and yang, they actually interact somewhere, and wherever their interaction takes place, that is the point of time, that is the point of space, that would be called as middle void. This can be compared with the yogic practice, and now he has actually compared this middle void or this process with another yogic practice. And in our yoga also, he says there is a process called pranayam. So he says that in pranayam also we breathe in, retain, and breathe out. Means we take the air inside, and then we keep quiet for some time, we keep it inside, and after some time we breathe out. So the suspension of breathe is the void where meditation occurs. When we have breathed, we have suspended the breath, that is the void where meditation occurs. The middle void is essential. So he, according to the author, this middle void is very important. Nothing can happen without it. Hence the importance of the white unpainted space in Chinese landscape. In the same way, he says that there is a painting that would be drawn by a Chinese painter. So in Chinese painting also, the Chinese painter, they leave some of the space unpainted, and this unpainted part is actually the space where the yin and yang they come in contact with each other. This is the middle void he actually talks about. This is the interaction where the interaction takes place, and he says that this can be compared with yogic practice of pranayam, where we breathe in, then we retain, then breathe out. So the suspension of the breath is the void where meditation occurs, where we actually leave the breath, and the middle void is essential. Nothing can happen according to him without it. Then he says this is also where man finds a fundamental role. Now he says that this is very important to understand, that in this world man also has the fundamental role to play in that space between heaven and earth. In the same way, that middle void, that you can say the very important role is played by human beings, because earth and heaven, they are also the each other's counterparts, and in between we have human beings who plays a very important role. He becomes the conduit. Now what is the meaning of conduit here? Conduit means the channel of communication between both poles of the universe. Means human beings are, you can say, they are playing an important role to communicate between the poles of the universe. His presence is essential, even if it is only suggested. Far from being lost or oppressed by the lofty peaks, he is of Francois Chang's wonderful expression, the eye of the landscape. Means there was another Chinese painter whose name was Francois Chang, and he also had done something. He has expressed his wonderful view about the importance of man, the humanity in between the, you can say, heaven and earth, and he expressed it in the name of the eye of the landscape. Now what is written here? Excerpt from Landscape of the Soul. So this is actually a chapter which was taken. Excerpt here means this is a small part taken from a big book, Landscape of the Soul, Ethics and Spirituality in Chinese Painting, slightly edited. Some of the additions were done. Now this is again very important. In the next paragraph we have a box, and inside the box we are given something very important related to our Indian culture, Indian art. And what is that? Getting inside outside art. Now what is the meaning of getting inside outside art here? Means he actually wants to say that there is an outsider art. Outsider means somebody who does not belong to a particular genre, particular style, particular group of people. So if a person does something new and he does not match with any other art, he would be called as outsider, and his art would be called as outsider art. He says, when French painter Jean Dubuffet mooted the concept of art brut in the 1940s, the art of the untrained visionary was of minority interest. Means in 1940, a person whose name was Dubuffet, Jean Dubuffet, he suggested the idea, and a new concept was given by him. And what was the name of that new art? It was called as art brut. Why brut? Because it is raw art. Raw. It is actually not you can say full of maturity, but it is very raw. The art of the untrained visionary was of minority interest. Means at that time in 1940s, nobody was interested to know anything about his outsider art. From its almost veiled beginnings, outsider art has gradually become the fastest growing area of interest in contemporary art internationally. But after some time, the people They actually understood something more about the outsider art, and outsider art became very famous, and the idea gradually, you can say, spread everywhere, and internationally today it has been recognized. Now the people, they have started recognizing this outsider art, and the people want to know something more about this art. This genre, now this is very important word, genre means this style. This is genre, Genre, but the pronunciation is genre. This genre is described as the art of those who have no right to be artists. Now this is very important, and this is unusual also, that this is actually a style which is described as the art of those who have no right to be artist, as they have reached no formal training, because this is a style which is, you can say, this is a new thing that is done by some people, but without formal training. They are not formally trained, no formal training is given, but these people, they have started a new kind of art, and they are called as artists also, yet show talent and artistic insight. But they have talent, but it is unique talent, and they have artistic insight also. Insight means they can see through things, they can look within things. Their works are a stimulating contrast to a lot of mainstream offerings. Means their works, their way of doing things, it actually is in contrast. Contrast means it is different from the mainstream. The main art is different from their art, because they are different. They are really giving something new to the world, and they are not trained, they are not formally trained. Around the time Dubuffet was propounding means he was giving, he was announcing, he was giving a new theory, his concept in India. An untutored genius was creating paradise. Means Dubuffet has propounded. Propounding means he has given, he has pronounced his concept in India. He says that somebody in India had given the view to his view of outsider art, and who represented outsider art in India was an untutored genius. Untutored means who has not learned anything, he was not taught, he was not given any kind of training, but he is a genius. Why he was called genius? Because he was extra talented man, and he was creating paradise. Paradise means he was creating heaven. He has created a kind of, you can say, paradise in the world. Years ago, the little patch of jungle that has began clearing to make himself a garden sculpted with stone and recycled material is known to the world today as rock garden at Chandigarh. You can see this is the rock garden of Chandigarh, and in the rock garden, a person whose name was Nek Chand, he actually took so much pain, and he started a new skill. He started giving his expression, his feelings in, you can say, with the help of some garbage, with the help of some, you can say, recyclable material, in the with the help of some, you can say, waste material. He started making some images, and he made a beautiful garden which is called today as rock garden. So he says that with recycled material he made a garden, he made some images inside that jungle, that wood, and is known today by the world as rock garden. It is known as rock garden today, and it is located at Chandigarh. Its 80-year-old creator whose and director, whose name was Nek Chand, is now hailed as India's biggest contributor to outsider art. Here it means that hailed means welcomed. Today, this man whose name is Nek Chand, who was 80 years old at that time. He was the creator and the director of the old, you can say, rock garden. He was welcomed as the India's biggest contributor to an outsider art. He is the biggest example in India of the outsider art. The 50th issue of Raw Vision, a UK based magazine pioneer in outsider art publications, features Nek Chand. Means there was a magazine, UK based magazine, which was being published in United Kingdom in 2005. They actually featured, they took, you can say, Nek Chand as a character, as a personality, and his rock garden sculpture Women by the Waterfall on its anniversary issues cover. And they actually issued a particular publication on this man, on Nek Chand, and his creativity that he had given through rock garden. And this was featured as Women by the Waterfall. Now, the notion, what is the meaning of notion? Notion means idea. The idea of art brut or raw art was of works that were in their raw state as regards cultural and artistic influences. Anything and everything from a tin to a sink to a broken down car could be material for a work of art. Something Nek Chand has taken to dizzying heights. Means this man, Nek Chand, he has actually given the true picture to raw art. He actually showed the world that what is the meaning of raw art, what is the meaning of outsider art, because he had used, and he actually told the people that any material, anything from tin to sink to a broken down car, any material which can be recycled, which is thrown by the people, which is of no use to anybody, this material can be used for a work of art. And this was told by Nek Chand, and it was taken to dizzying heights. Means he actually made people, you can say, giddy means chakkar aa gaye logon ko. The people, they actually could not think, they never realized that all these things, all these rubbish things, rubbish material, the thrown material, the discarded material could be used to such heights, to such a beauty. Recognizing his art as an outstanding testimony of the difference a single man can make when he lives his dream. And now this is very important. Recognizing his art as an outstanding testimony means his art is a testimony. Testimony means it is a proof, it is a, you can say, degree. It is actually a kind of certificate of the difference a single man can make when he lives his dream. The Swiss Commission for UNESCO will be honoring him by way of an European exposition of his works. UNESCO actually had honored him. They had seen his work as extraordinary. The 5-month interactive show Realm of Nek Chand, beginning October, will be held at leading museums in Switzerland. And in 2005, this was actually published in a magazine, or maybe in Hindustan Times, in a newspaper, and they told the people, they actually announced that Nek Chand and his works were called as Realm of Nek Chand, and this was going to be published, this was going to be exposed by the European Commission, Swiss Commission for UNESCO. And there was a 5-month interactive show which was going to begin in 2005 in October, and it was going to be held at leading museums in Switzerland, Belgium, France, and Italy. These countries, they were going to show the beauty, the, you can say, the work of Nek Chand. The biggest reward is walking through the garden and seeing people enjoy my creation, Nek Chand says. But Nek Chand, according to him, the best you can say, way to thank him, the best way to, you can say, give him any kind of gift, the best way to give him a prize was when the people enjoyed his creation, when the people, they were watching the creation and they were getting a lot of pleasure out of it, and when he was going for a walk in his garden, the people, they were enjoying it, it was the biggest reward for him. He did not want anything else. Brinda Suri, Hindustan Times, means this was published in Hindustan Times on 28th August 2005. So this is the end of the chapter. I hope you would have got some idea about the chapter. Read it thoroughly, enjoy these videos, keep learning, take a very good care of yourself. Thank you very much. Bye bye. See you.